Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have been doing a lot of Arteza products lately, and I have one more to show you as of now. So I was pretty stoked to get this one because these are the Arteza EverBlend art markers. And so these are the alcohol markers that Arteza has. And this is the set of 60. And I love alcohol markers. I have worked with alcohol markers for, golly, almost a decade now. And I have Copic certifications in the standard level and the intermediate level. I don't know that they do those anymore, but I have worked with them for a very long time. And so I love my Copics, but I am always looking for inexpensive alternatives because Copics are they're pretty expensive, honestly. And they're wonderful because they're replaceable and blah blah blah, but I was pretty excited to be able to check these out. I don't typically buy alcohol markers just simply because I already have the Copics, and that's quite an investment. But when they reached out and asked if I would be willing to give these a try, I jumped at the chance because honestly, yeah, I have people that ask about alternatives, and so I really wanted to give this a shot. I love how this comes in a carrying case, and there are 60. This is not the biggest grouping from what I understand, and I don't think that you can buy the markers separately if you run out. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I will definitely check that out, but this is neat. So this makes it really easy if you're out and about, or you want to go and maybe do some coloring while the kiddos are at swim practice or swim lessons or whatever. This is nice. So it has the buckles, Velcro top. Oh my, that's cool. And then the Velcro sides. So these Velcro sides undo. And then you have your markers like so. Oh my gosh, isn't that great? And then you even have room for extras, so maybe you can buy them separately. I really need to look into that because that would be nice. They have a number on the side, or on the tip. So this one's A410 and it's rose red, and it's also on the other end. And then you have a chisel nib, it looks like, and a bullet nib. And I love a bullet nib. It makes it really great for fine detail. I don't particularly... Chisel nib's fine, but honestly on my Copics, if I could get rid of all the chisel nibs because I rarely use them, and maybe put in a brush or a bullet nib on those because I have the brush nib, there you go. I typically work with the brush nib, but I'm excited for a bullet nib. So I want to give those a shot. And it looks like there is a decent amount that you can blend. So that's great. So you've got some nice neutrals in this set of 60. You also have a good amount of blues. You don't have a lot in the way of browns, which, you know, I tend to color a lot of critters, so I like browns. But like I said, maybe this is something that you can buy them separately. Good amount of greens, yellows, oranges, and then as far as reds go, it looks like these might be it for the reds, maybe a couple of these darker ones. Good amount of pinks, and then some purples. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these, or stamp a couple images out, and then we can play around with it. So I'll be back. All right, so I am back, and I went ahead and swatched the colors, and I used the two papers that I use the most, as I've said every time I do any sort of a review on something, or that has like lots of colors. I highly suggest that you swatch out all the colors on the paper that you would use it the most on. So this one is the Neenah Solar White, And then this is the Express It cardstock, which I've said a zillion times is my absolute favorite for doing any sort of alcohol marker coloring. And I went ahead and swatched these out, like usual, using this awesome Waffle Flower stamp set. This is the Color Swatches stamp set. So I just stamped this out 6 times because the set that I have has 60 colors. And yeah, so I just used my Misty and stamped that out several times, and that way I had each one blended out. And then I wrote the color number. Now, first impressions of these markers are that they have a very nice feel, this triangular feel, because it's not perfectly rounded. So that triangular feel actually feels pretty nice in your hand to color with. I didn't really try the Chisel Nib. I just used the bullet nib, but it is neat how on the marker itself you've got it marked as the chisel and the bullet nib. And as I said before, each one has its color number, and then it also has a name on it. I didn't quite figure out the color number, and I suppose I'd probably have to do a little bit more research as to why they're numbered the way that they are, but I'm sure there's a logical reason for it. There is also, so this is the set of 60, but there's also a set of 120. And so that being said, maybe the numbers actually make a little bit more sense when you have the entire set, you know, all good to go. So like I said, I swatched them all out, and they were really easy to color out, really easy to work with. I really like the vibrancy of the colors. If I were to make any suggestion as far as color-wise, and I haven't really looked at the 120 set, but I would say that I would need more browns, because I tend to color a lot of like little furry critters or even some characters, and those characters I'd usually want some different skin tones. And you'd probably have to do, I don't know, it'd be a little difficult to try and come up with some different skin tones for some of these. So, but I did also do some color blending with them, and I tried to come up with just a few color blends that you could do just with this kit, this set alone. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alright, so as I said, I did come up with a few blends that you could do just using this set, and I'm sure that obviously there'd be a ton more that you can do because the other set is 120, and that's double this number. But yeah, so, and they blended fairly easily. Now I am used to using a brush nib, and so the bullet nib on a constant basis was a little bit of a you know, a little different for me to use, but it wasn't that hard. And so these are some of the, like I said, some of the blends I ended up deciding on. As far as skin tones go, I did find these two, so I could have this one for your more Caucasian and this one for your more African American or African skin tones. And so there's at least 2 skin tones that I was able to come up with. I'm sure that if I looked hard enough, I could come up with some different ones. They may not vary too much from this, but I could do a little bit. But let's do a little bit of coloring so that you can see me do the coloring. I stamped out the stars from this How You Bean. It's the stars add-on stamp set from Fawn. And so we'll just grab a couple markers, and then you can see me actually do some of the coloring. And I'll do them different colors on each one. So let's do a traditional yellow. So I'll grab the 949. And this would be the hardest thing for me to try to get used to, is just the color number that they're in. Because as I said before, that it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They also have names on them, and you could go by that, but I guess since I'm so used to using numbers, and I understand the reason for the numbers on the Copics, that makes more sense to me. So, alright. So basically we're using this 949, which is Tuscan Sun, 944, which is Sunflower Yellow, and this 9432, which is Yellow Ochre. And we'll start out, we'll go on the Neenah for this one. And I guess my suggestion with any alcohol markers would be to work in small sections so that you don't have a lot of anything showing, a lot of the brush stroke showing. And this makes it a little easier on something like this because you can, you know, work in small sections because it's a small image. Another thing I have learned is sometimes working in circles makes it a little easier when you're first putting down your first layers. And I tend to go lightest to darkest. And so when I'm coloring something like this, yeah, and I tried to do dark to light, and I can do it, but I think for most of us, even though I have colored for a number of years using alcohol markers, I tend to stick with this because I think that's what most of us can do. So I like to show you what most of us can do. And if you don't feel like you're good with alcohol markers, the key is just practicing. I mean, that's the key with any medium, really, is just to practice as much as possible. I have seen people go from, you know, decent to really, really good. All right, so now I'm going to take this bullet nib and I will start putting it in areas where I think there could be shadowing. And it's going to be interesting for me because I tend to go in brush strokes like that, simply because I'm used to the brush tip on the Copics. So we'll just make do and we'll see how this works. The nice thing about alcohol markers is that you don't like what you did, you can always kind of go back over it and work it. Eventually you'll have an issue. It won't work anymore. You'll get a lot of bleeding. But in this instance, we'll just keep trying here. I did notice that this has what they call a blender pen, and don't let that name fool you. It isn't actually for blending. It is more for kind of erasing the marks, is what I would say. All right, so now I'm going to move on to 9432, which is that yellow ochre, and I'll just kind of add a smaller section, and I'll blend that out, but I'm just using more of a line here than anything else. And I don't tend to go all the way. I'm seeing these as being more rounded, these images. So I don't tend to go all the way to the edge. A couple of other things that I was able to find out about these is that, so this set itself, the set of 60, retails on the Arteza website for $69.99, which is actually pretty good. I mean, it's really good considering they are alcohol markers, and they come with this really nice bag that I showed you, so this really nice carrying case. So it makes them, I would say, roughly a buck per. And then I'll just kind of blend that out a little with the lighter one. And for me, it's a learning curve just using the bullet nib all the time. I like the bullet nib, especially for smaller areas, but I'm not used to a bullet nib. Okay, I like that blend. I think that blend worked out pretty nicely. I think that's really pretty. And this isn't even on my favorite paper. This is just one of the papers. Okay, another thing that I learned about these markers is that they are not refillable, but you can buy replacement nibs. So let's say you somehow mess up your bullet nib or your chisel nib. They do sell packs of, I want to say maybe 10 nibs, so that you can replace your nibs. And there are about 60 of the markers that you can buy individually, and that list would be on the website. However, I'm not sure which ones they are, so you'd have to look that up. And they do come in packs of 4. So if you wanted to get, let's say they had this one, this Sunshine Flower Yellow, if they had this as a replacement, you would buy 4 of them. And I think it's like $8.99 for the replacement of 4. So it's, if you don't mind having excess around, then this is not, you know, this might be for you. All right, so let's grab another color, maybe another combo that I chose. Almost wish I was doing this live so I could ask you which ones you'd like to see. But let me put these back. And then let's grab, this one's a little bit more of a difficult blend, so let's give that one a try. 401881. And I could just be setting myself up for failure, but let's give it a try. 8723 and 881. Okay. So I was using this burgundy color as my lightest. The violet is a mid-tone and the royal purple is the darkest. So let's go ahead and do that. And you know what? We'll go ahead and try the Chisel Nib. Let's try that to color in this whole section. Hopefully I'm not going too dark by doing that. And that may be, ooh, I might make messes. Well, then I can show you the blender pen that they call a blender pen, but isn't really a blender pen. All right. Yeah. So I guess my impression so far would be that if you are absolutely, if you're new to alcohol coloring, alcohol markers, or maybe you don't want to spend a fortune, because let's be real, Copics are a heck of an investment. I think their price went up, and so they're about $8 each marker. So, you go on their website, Arteza's website, and you can spend $9 and get 4. It'll be the same marker, but you get 4. All right, so let's move on to the royal. And I'm going to use the bullet nib now, going back and adding the shadowing that way. So yeah, if you are just starting out, I feel like this could be an answer for you. And just looking at the colors that are available for the 120 set, I would almost say splurge and just get the 120. And the reason I say that is because the 120 was $120. Or 100, no, it wasn't even 100. I don't think it was 120. No, it might have been. So if it's $120, then it really is like you're spending less than $1, because you also get a really nice carrying case with that one as well. So it might almost be worth that. And you probably have a lot more blendability. And $120 is like a spit in the bucket for alcohol markers, really, because if an alcohol marker or Copic is $8, you're only going to get, gosh, not very many. Can't do the math right now. You won't get many, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to this royal purple. Add that one in there as the darkest. And then we'll blend it out here in a second. But I really like these. I think these are a lot of fun. And they're different for me. I have never actually spent the money beyond the Copics, simply because I already have the Copics, so why would I, I've already invested so much in those that I wouldn't normally do that. But if I were just starting out, I feel like this would be a good investment. All right, and then we'll blend that out one more time with the, oops, let's use the bullet nib on there. Yeah. So I guess I'd love to know what you think. Do you have these? Have you tried them before? Are you in the market for alcohol markers? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Okay, so there's that one. That didn't blend too bad. I mean, it's definitely darker. I think those colors worked out, but I really love the yellow. Probably because stars in my eyes are actually yellow. So there it is. I'm going to do more with these. I've got some ideas in my head, so keep an eye out. You'll see more with these, and then I'll see how much I can actually do with this set of markers. But yeah, I will have a coupon code down below for 10% off in the Arteza store, and that is good till July the 30th. All right, so there you have it. If you have any questions, please leave that in the description box down below. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and commenting. I do really appreciate it. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by.